In this video, I want to talk about more information regarding the Microsoft and Bethesda merger. Now, this is something that is definitely going to be talked about quite a bit for the rest of the year, and I should say acquisition of Bethesda from Microsoft, obviously. This begs the question, what's the future of Bethesda titles on PlayStation platforms? And it seems like Phil Spencer has given us a little bit of an update regarding that. But first of all, yes, it was one of the biggest stories in recent gaming memory. Microsoft acquiring Bethesda has been finalized, and it was quite the expensive acquisition, but with it, Microsoft now gets a bunch of studios, a bunch of IPs, and you can make the argument whether or not it was worth how much they spent. That's something that I think we'll have a clearer idea of within, the coming years. It's not really something you can ascertain right now. However, it was noted, it's an honor to welcome the 8 incredibly talented development studios: Bethesda Game Studios, id Software, ZeniMax Online Studios, Arcane, Machine Games, Tango Gameworks, Alpha Dog, and Roundhouse Studios, and their passionate global communities to the Xbox family. Head of Xbox Phil Spencer said in a statement, "Now that everything is official, we can begin working together to deliver more great games to everyone." Spencer claimed that Bethesda would continue making games the way it always has, and confirmed that some games would release on non-Xbox platforms. Now, there's a lot to take away from that. We already know that games like Ghostwire Tokyo as well as Deathloop already had PlayStation agreements prior to the Microsoft deal going into effect, and those exclusivity agreements will be honored, so that is something to take note of. He continued, "Gamers should know that Xbox consoles, PC, and Game Pass will be the best place to experience new Bethesda games, including some new titles in the future that will be exclusive to Xbox and PC players. As we shared previously, it's vitally important that Bethesda continues making games the way it always has. We look forward to empowering Bethesda's creative teams to reach even more players around the world, of helping make future Bethesda titles the biggest and most popular games in their history. Xbox and Bethesda have long shared a common vision for the future of gaming, both as fans and as creators. Bethesda understands the potential of Xbox Game Pass." Now, a lot to ascertain there. The idea of Bethesda titles coming to PlayStation platforms, I can get why they would do that from a short-term standpoint. However, you have to consider the fact that Bethesda joining Microsoft and Microsoft acquiring Bethesda, this is absolutely a long-term play. What was the acquisition cost? I believe off the top of my head, it was $7.2 trillion. That is a lot of money to put towards acquiring Bethesda. Now, you get a lot out of it, but the idea is to get exclusive properties in-house, to migrate people over to either buying these games outright on PC, but more importantly, this is obviously a play to get people to sign up for subscription services. Everybody is on the subscription wagon right now. It is about getting exclusive content for a subscription service, and that is how to drive subscribers. Yes, upfront you might lose money on it in the get-go, but it's about the longevity and the long-term element. Look, people are spending millions and millions, hundreds of millions of dollars to acquire content for these streaming services and subscription services, and games are gonna go the way of what we're seeing. Yes, it started out with Netflix, but now you've got all of these different subscription services. You got ESPN making an ESPN Plus. Disney has their service. You have Hulu, Netflix, all this stuff, and the idea is to get as many subscribers as possible, even if upfront you lose a little bit of money. The idea is in the back end, long term, you're gonna have your 30 million, 40 million, 50 million, 100 million subscribers, where if you're getting $10 to $15 from them a month, you have this revenue stream that is going to be very, very significant for you. And that is the long-term play here. Now, while it would be best if we were getting a Elder Scrolls 6 releasing on PlayStation 5 or something like that, that kind of goes against the long-term play at hand. Yes, you would generate some revenue by selling the game on PlayStation 5. You might sell an additional 1 million or 2 million copies, but the ultimate idea of this acquisition is to get people on Xbox Game Pass. Look, Microsoft has made it abundantly clear that they think that this is the future of gaming and this is what they want to do. If they're still selling these games on PlayStation 5, I just think it's like a 50-50. Like, you either all in by spending $7.2 trillion, or you don't all in and you do things business as usual. And I think if they are going to spend $7.2 trillion, I mean, if I was Microsoft, I'd make everything exclusive. You're spending that kind of money, and from a business standpoint, that's what I think makes all the sense in the world. However, we still don't know what kind of agreements Bethesda had. We didn't know exactly how the conversation went with Microsoft. So there's a lot of things that you do have to, consider that are variables and just unknowns at this point. If it was up to me, I mean, if I'm Microsoft and I spent $7.2 trillion, I would put Elder Scrolls 6 exclusively on Xbox and the platforms that you control, and maybe like Steam, so you can generate additional revenue. Is that the ideal situation for consumers? Absolutely not. But Microsoft, from a business standpoint, you drop 7.2 trillion, you're gonna be using this as a way to get subscribers on Xbox Game Pass. Yes, it'd be great if all of the games released on PlayStation, but you know, Sony is paying Square Enix a ton of money for Final Fantasy 16. You think that's coming to Xbox? Yeah, I just don't think that Bethesda is gonna play, or I should say Microsoft is gonna play completely nicely. I've been seeing a lot of people on Twitter saying, oh, everything's just gonna be coming, the big Bethesda titles are gonna be on PlayStation. I think, whoa, you are pushing the cart way before the horse, I think, with that thinking. Maybe they will, maybe there'll be timed exclusives on Game Pass, I don't know. But if you're thinking that Microsoft is just looking from the outside and they're like, huh, Sony just paid a bunch of money to Square Enix to get Final Fantasy 16 as an exclusive, to get Project Athena as an exclusive. Oh yeah, we're just gonna spend a lot of money to acquire Bethesda, but nah, we're gonna be nice guys, and we're gonna give the PlayStation guys all of these games. Yeah, you can have your Wolfenstein, you can have your next Doom, you can have your, you know, all the next Elder Scrolls, the next Fallout, whatever the case may be, so on and so forth. I just think that's a lot of wishful thinking there. Like, I don't think they're gonna play nicely here. Yes, you do have to be professionals and you have to honor the contract that were put into place before the acquisition. That's why if you're looking too deeply into the Deathloop situation and the what's the other game? Totally forgetting about it. Ghostwire Tokyo. You're looking too much into it. That was just deals made before this acquisition was finalized, and everybody has to be professional in that regard. But yeah, I just think I've been seeing a lot of PlayStation guys on Twitter just being like, oh, so we're just gonna get everything and we're gonna have all our exclusives too, and this acquisition means nothing. And I just think, oh, dude, you are setting yourself up for disappointment if you think that's gonna be the case. Ain't no way in hell Microsoft just dropped 7.2 trillion and they're just gonna be like, ah, yeah, no, the games are just gonna be multi-platform and they're gonna be everywhere. Yeah, I just don't think that's gonna be the case. Would it be the best case scenario for us? Yes, absolutely, but Microsoft ain't out here dropping 7.2 trillion to make sure we get everything that we absolutely want. That's just not how the world works. And that's a reality you are going to have to accept. I know that there's this rhetoric out there that Bethesda studios suck all of a sudden, and yes, maybe they've had a couple of stinkers, but it's very much a what have you done for me lately industry. Like, they can come out and they can release whatever, the next Elder Scrolls game, and it could be a banger, and everybody is completely on board the Bethesda train. And Doom Eternal just came out, guys. Doom Eternal came out back in April. Like, what? Why are we crapping on Bethesda after they just dropped one of the best first-person shooters of all time? Yes, maybe Fallout 76 was a dud, maybe you didn't like Fallout 4, maybe you didn't like XYZ game, but Doom Eternal, Wolfenstein 2, Dishonored 2, these are all relatively recent games that were all bangers. Yeah, you got your Rage 2s of the world that weren't great, but Wolfenstein 2, Dishonored 2, Doom Eternal, Prey, these are all games that I thought were awesome. And again, you had some duds, but let's not forget all the excellent games Bethesda has put out in the last generation. I just think you're not giving them any credit at all if you're just looking at it from a Fallout 76 standpoint. Again, yes, that game was not very good. It wasn't good at all. But saying everything was a dud and Bethesda are a shell of their former selves, like, you're entitled to your opinion, but I just don't think that's giving them any credit, and they do deserve credit for releasing, you know, a Doom Eternal. Even if that was id Software, even if Wolfenstein 2 was a Machine Games, even if a Dishonored was from Arcane, they're all under the Bethesda umbrella, so that is something you have to consider. But that's gonna wrap up this one. Want to hear your guys' thoughts? Definitely gonna be one of the hottest stories in gaming for the next year and the next couple years to see how the exclusivity rolls out. Maybe I'm gonna be wrong, and Microsoft is just gonna completely play nice and everything's gonna be on PlayStation. Find that really hard to believe when you're putting down 7.2 trillion. That's gonna wrap up this one. Sound off with all of your thoughts in the comment section down below. Thank you for watching, and goodbye.